Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for being here today. I hope you're all well, and I hope you're all ready for a fun video. Because it's a classic book haul, my friends. It is a classic book haul. And let me just say, all of these books have been collected over a period of time. It's been a couple months. This isn't just a single week of book collecting. So I've got quite the stack. I've got some books that I've talked about before that I finally got physical copies of. I have books that are new popular releases that I'm just intrigued by. And I have a signed edition of a very special book that I'm excited to talk to you all about. But that's what today's video is going to be. Before we get into the video though, I have a request for all of you. I haven't read thrillers in a very long time, and I recently picked one up, and I'm only about halfway through it, but I'm having such a fun time reading it. I'll talk about that book later in this video, but since I'm reading that book, I want to try to fall back in love with them. I want to do a video where all I do is read thrillers or horror. And so can you please leave recommendations down below for the scariest book you've ever read or the book with the best twist that like totally caught you off guard and you did not see coming. Because, I mean, I'm reading one right now, but outside of that, I'm like, where do I begin? I feel like I haven't really read thrillers in legitimately 2.5 years. So I just need some help. I need some help navigating. I need to figure out like what to read, what books are worth picking up, what books are scary, what books have really good twists. I just need all of your help, so that's my request in this video. I'm also going to try to include a couple of audiobooks. I mean, with the thriller that I'm reading right now, it has a huge ensemble cast of characters, like of narrators, and that's been really, really fun. So I have a couple of audiobooks that I'm going to also mention, but I'll save those for the end. Let's get into the physical copies first, and we're gonna start with my truest treasure. This one, this one means a lot to me, my friends. First of all, just because of what the book is, but also it's a special edition. That is Happy Place, but not just Happy Place, my friends. No, not just Happy Place. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's a signed edition of Happy Place, but not just signed. No, it has my name up there at the top, my friends. Emily Henry may not know who I am, may not know that I exist, but damn it, she wrote my name on a piece of paper, and that is the highlight of my year. So, anyway, I have read Happy Place twice so far. I read it as an ARC like 6 months ago and had an absolute ball, but also read it extremely fast. And then I read it when it released, and I vlogged that whole process. Then I looked at the footage and I was like, wow, you're boring. You're just straight up and down boring. So I didn't end up posting that vlog, but I have read this twice. I really, really loved it. I just really liked the emphasis on friendship. I like that there was a big friend group involved in this book. And I really love that it does the friends to lovers, but then the lovers to enemies genre. And so there's just like a lot of tension, and there's a lot of misreading situations, and there's some really good friend banter in this one, and it was just a joy to read. Again, I wanted to do a whole vlog, but I looked at the footage and I was like, you suck. You suck at this, Noelle. So didn't end up posting it, but it's very, very fun, and I was definitely in my happy place while I was reading it. So that's the first one. That's my little treasure of this video. So what are you gonna do? All right, next up we have a book that I just recently mentioned in my latest video, and I was saying I loved reading it, but I wanted the physical copy because there's a couple of passages that I wanted to like actually mark and make sure I was able to talk about them later. So I picked up the physical copy of Chlorine. I am really loving this book so far. I was waiting until I got the physical copy until I started reading it again. So I'm only maybe a third of the way through, but although I'm only a third of the way in, I'm having an absolute blast. I just think it is really, really interesting. There's an emphasis on competitive swimming, also mixed with mermaid lore, also just like coming of age teenagers and the things they go through and the friendships they make and the ups and downs of high school, and it's just really, really good so far. So although the audiobook is really, really good, I was like, there's some quotable passages and I'd like to mark them. And I also just know that it's a book that I'm going to want to have on my shelves. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes when you're listening to an audiobook and you're like, I'm glad that was an audiobook. Like, it was fun, but I don't need the pages. You know, I don't need it in front of me. This is one where I feel like if someone comes over and they're like, I just want to read a book like nothing I've ever read before, this will probably be the one that I give them. And I will update you as I finish it, because as of right now, I really love it. But I'm only a third of the way through, my friends. And so far, it's so good. All right, next up, we have a romance author that I am seeing everywhere right now, and I am just completely influenced by other readers, and that is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I am seeing this author everywhere. I am seeing her books talked about everywhere. I mean, I've always recognized her covers, but especially over the last 2 weeks, I feel like this is the romance author I'm hearing so much about. So Sydney, I'll leave her channel link down below. She is amazing. Her content is so fun to watch, and she just has such an infectious personality. But she just read this book, and I think she vlogged it and put it in her wrap up, and she just loved it. And I was sold. Immediately I was sold. So I'm excited to get to this one. Again, this author is just everywhere right now, and I want to be in on it. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what I'm missing. So I'll be reading this immediately. All right, next up, in my spring TBR, I had asked all of you for recommendations on adventure-based books. I was like, I just need a book that I can't put down. I want to be taken on an adventure. I want to escape reality. So what should I read? And so many of you recommended The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. This book was like the ultimate recommendation in that video. It is a pirate-based book about a main woman pirate who's just going on adventures around the ocean. Here's the deal too. I don't think I've ever read pirate fiction. And that's something that's definitely missing in my life, because here's the deal. I was unhealthily obsessed with Will Turner in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Orlando Bloom bloomed something in my heart, because I was like, okay, now I understand attraction. This is something right now. But when I saw all of the comments recommending this, I got so excited, and I'm thinking about just doing a vlog focused solely on this book, because again, I was asking for adventure recommendations and you all delivered. Okay, this is a book that I just mentioned in my latest reading vlog, but I picked up the book Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. This is the same author that wrote Electra and Ariadne, 2 books I really enjoyed. I haven't read it since that vlog, so I'm only 80 pages in. But so far, it is really, really beautifully written. That's how all of Jennifer Saint's books are. So well written, so gorgeous. The world building and just the description of where they are and the weather and all of these things are so breathtaking. And so far, there's already been a bit of adventure. The first couple chapters feel like just setting the stage. Kind of reminds me of Song of Achilles. You don't get a lot of action right away. You get a lot of building of characters and building of setting, again, like I just said. It's interesting because Atalanta, although she's living in the forest, and so there's lots of peril and dangers that come with that, she lives a pretty sheltered life in the sense that she only knows the women around her. She never goes out into the broader civilization. She's never around men, she's never around the city. She just kind of has her core group of people, and she doesn't, leave that space. And she then gets the opportunity to leave and go on a mission. And so that's where I left off. And again, the adventure is really starting to pick up. It feels like it's kind of swirling around, like you kind of were just in this calm lake of descriptions. And now suddenly you're on the open seas. So I'm very curious about this one. And again, I really love Jennifer Saint's writing. So I know it's just going to get better and better. And you guessed it, better. Okay, this is another book that I've previously talked about, but I really wanted the physical copy because, first of all, love the cover. And second of all, I keep hearing everyone talk about how fantastic it is. Like, I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, that sounds really interesting. But then when all I've heard is continued fantastic things about this book, I'm just really excited. And that is The Bandit Queens. So The Bandit Queens, from what I understand, there's a main character who has been accused of murdering her husband. And instead of being ostracized and cast away by all of the community, instead, women start to approach her, asking her how she did it. So it feels a little bit like the musical Chicago, like Cell Block Tango. We've got like a group of women who are clearly being mistreated and would like to do something about it. But I just thought that was such an intriguing concept. And again, I love this cover. I keep hearing fantastic things, and I'm just really, really stoked to dive in and to see how it is. All right, next up we have a book that I think I've mentioned. I think I've said, like, I would love to read that book one day, or maybe it was recommended to me a bunch. In any case, I've seen it all over the place, and that is Alone with You in the Ether. From what I understand, this is a sci-fi romance, but maybe not with a happy ending. That's kind of the hint I'm getting, which is intriguing to me. You know I love romance, but I mean, will it end in tears or will it end in happiness? That is left to be seen. I'm not sure if that's an expression, but we're going with it. It says, Chicago, sometime. Two people meet in the Art Institute by chance. Prior to their encounter, he is a doctoral student who manages his destructive thoughts with compulsive calculations about time travel. She is a bipolar counterfeit artist undergoing court-ordered psychotherapy. By the end of the story, these things will still be true, but this is not a story about endings. Whatever that means. Maybe it is a happy ending then. I don't know. I just have heard that so many people love this one. I know that people read this and it becomes a new favorite. I also know that it's pretty short. Again, I've heard some people really, really love it, and I want to see where I land on that scale. So there you have it. All right, the next one is one that I have been just completely influenced by the internet by. Absolutely. I have seen this cover so many times, and then I actually had a friend who sent me a screenshot and was like, maybe you should read this one. And I was like, say no more. Literally say no more. I'll go find it right now. And that is called Fourth Wing, my friend. Let me know if you've read this one. I haven't started it yet, but like, look at the little dragons on the side. Now, as many of you know, I don't really read fantasy. It's a newer genre to me. I mean, I've read fantasies in my life, but it's not really like my go-to genre. But this is one that I just keep hearing about. It's like both about dragons, love, and education. Like, I think it all takes place at a university, from my understanding. Let's see if I'm right. Enter the brutal and elite world of a war college for dragon riders. So, I fucking nailed that. But look at this. Look at this, like, map on the inside. This is something I have to give to fantasy novels, is the way that they are packaged and cared for is so impressive to me. The fact that there's like a whole map to describe a fictional world that an author came up with is amazing. So anyway, I keep seeing this everywhere. If you've read it, let me know what you thought. No spoilers, please, because I am curious. But it's getting really good reviews right now, and I feel like everyone's talking about it, and I want to also be talking about it. So There you go. All right, a book that was sent to me by Celadon Books, which thank you so much. I am so excited whenever I get book mail, is Alex North's book, The Angel Maker. I have read both of Alex North's book, The Whisper Man and... I'm not looking for the other title. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. The Shadows. That just came into my head. I totally did not find it in there. Anyway, so I've read both of Alex North's books and really liked both of them. I liked The Whisper Man more, but I was sent this by Celadon and I'm so excited. And not only did they send me the book, but it also came with these clues. Open after reading chapter 12. Open after reading chapter 17. Open after reading 47. Are you hearing that? So it seems like it's a more interactive book, which is really cool. Maybe I should read this for the trying to get back into thrillers vlog, because this might be a perfect contender. But anyway, thank you so much to the publisher for sending that to me. I'm very excited to read it and to also get to these clues, because I love a tangible bitch, you know? All right, the next couple books I'm just gonna kind of hold up because I did talk about them in my spring TBR, but I also just bought them. So I feel like they should have been included in this book haul, but I'm gonna speed round this for you. The first one is Cursed Bunny, short story collection. Very excited to get to it. Next we have Arrival. My understanding is that it deals with some pretty bad abuse, so definitely check out the content warnings before you pick this up. Next we have Luster. When I talked about this in my spring TBR, some people said that they absolutely loved this book and that it was a new favorite, and then others said it wasn't what they were expecting, like the synopsis didn't sell it the way that the book actually reads. So I'm excited to get to this one and see how I land on that. But either way, I think it sounds really good, and so I'll let you know once I get to this and what I think. Next we have American Mermaid. This is about a book about a mermaid that's been adapted into a movie, and on the movie set, the producers and PAs and screenwriters start to get haunted by sirens in the actual ocean. So I'm excited for this. It was also blurbed by Madeline Miller. So I'll be reading it. Next, we have Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I mentioned this in the video, but I feel like you either love this book or it was a miss for many people. And I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna love it. I really feel like I'm gonna love it, but I haven't read it yet. And once I do, I'll let you know. And then the last one from the spring TBR video is Our Share of Night. This is a book that really focuses on a mother who passes away, and then a father and son are kind of haunted by a cult of sorts, kind of a family cult. And I am terrified and absolutely intrigued. I have seen so many good things about this book. People love this book. It is super long though, so I was also thinking about doing a soul-focused reading vlog on this one. And I'd be very, very interested in doing that because I'm seeing a lot of really good things about it. And then let's just do a couple of audiobooks that I've recently found, because I had mentioned that I had started a thriller, or I guess this one, it feels more like a mystery, but that is The Golden Spoon. This is basically a murder happens on the American version of The Great British Bake Off. So it's like a baking show that takes place in a tent on like a really nice estate. So basically the Great British Bake Off, just like on the East Coast in the United States, and there's a murder that happens. But it's not just a murder. There's someone who is sabotaging everyone's bakes on the show. It is really good so far. It reminds me of the movie Burnt with Bradley Cooper. He's like a chef, and someone is trying to sabotage him, and things happen, and it's really intense. But so far, I'm really loving this one. It has a full cast of narrators, which I'm really enjoying. I really feel like I'm getting to know the characters because each one has a different voice, and it's been really, really fun so far. Another book that I'm really, really interested in is The Collected Schizophrenias. It's a collection of essays, And it says, an intimate, moving book written with the immediacy and directness of one who struggles with the effects of mental and chronic illness. The collected schizophrenia cuts right to the core. Okay, a little bit further it says, opening with the journey towards her diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder, Wang discusses the medical community's own disagreement about labels and procedures for diagnosing those with mental illness, and then follows an arc that examines the manifestations of schizophrenia in her life. So I think this one is going to be really good. It was like in a playlist of recommended audiobooks, so I think it's going to be really, really interesting. And then the last book I'll mention is The Writing Retreat. All I know about this book is that it's a group of writers on a writing retreat, and I believe there's a murder, and you're trying to figure out which writer did it. And the reason why I don't know much about this is that I believe it was Gabby from Gabby Reads who said to not read the inside flap or the synopsis of the book because it will spoil something for you. So I have not done that. I'm not doing that. I haven't read it. But I'm excited to because I've been seeing it everywhere. I think the cover is so cool, and it just seems like it's one of those mysteries that it either really, really lands with you or it kind of leaves you wanting. So maybe it has an ambiguous ending. I'm not sure. I don't usually love those, so we'll see how I feel about this one. But anyway, that is my little book haul, my friends. Those are some books that I have physically picked up or some audiobooks I'm interested in listening to. Again, if you have any recommendations for some horror or some thrillers that you think I might enjoy, please let me know. And also, please let me know if there are any books that you've recently picked up that you're really excited to get to, or any new releases that you're going to buy right as they come available. So anyway, love you all. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.